Welcome to your 2027 Dutch Star walkthrough on a 4345 floor plan. We'll start up here at the front. Okay, so the first control pad that you see here on the left side of the driver's console is your HWH leveling control. And to power this leveling control up, you just reach over and turn the ignition on, or turn it to accessories, and you'll see you get additional lights that come on here that indicate we're slightly off level. And to level the coach, you can do it manually by pressing these buttons for extend and retract, or you can just hit the auto level button. Now, before you put your coach into auto level, or you do it manually, you're going to want to walk around the coach and just make sure that there's nothing underneath where the jack pads are going to be extending towards the ground. And you also want to check the reveals on your slide out. Make sure that your slide out reveals are about 3/8 of an inch. And then you'll be able to go into auto level after you've run your slide rooms out. So leveling should only take place after you've checked your reveals and made sure that you can run your slide rooms out. After the slide rooms are out, then you'd want to go into the leveling process. So to do that, you'll turn the key on, hit auto level, and what you're hearing is the air going out of the bags as the coach is going into the leveling process. It takes a minute or two to go through the complete leveling cycle. And once each jack is down, you'll see a red light that comes on to tell you that that jack in that corner is down. So you can see the coach is slightly moving as the jacks are going down. If the area that you're on has too much of a slope, then the excess slope light would come on, and then you'd have to move your coach to a more level position. But we're good here because the excess slope light is not on. If at any time during this process you want the jacks to store and go back up, you would just hit auto store. But now you can see all of our jacks are down, and our yellow lights are off, showing us that we're in a level position. So now we can turn off the ignition. And what you were hearing there was a warning signal that the ignition was on while it was in the leveling process, because the air wasn't in the airbags anymore. So now we're level, and we'll do the exact reverse process for auto store that we did when we ran our slides out. So to go into auto store and bring the jacks up, we'd turn the key on, then we would go into auto store, let the coach air up, run the slide rooms in. So we'll show you that. Turn the key on. Then you would go into auto store. Let the coach air up. As each jack retracts in the corner of your coach, when it's fully retracted, the light will go out. So before you travel, you want to make sure all your red lights are out. All right, so your last jack is up. The jack warning sound has gone away. And once you have full air in your airbags, you'll be able to travel. So right now, it's showing that we have auto stored. Again, if you at any time wanted to, you could extend or retract these manually, but it's just about as easy to use the auto level and then auto store button to level. In front of our HWH leveling control, we have our Allison transmission shift pad. The N indicates neutral, R indicates reverse, and the D indicates drive. Once the transmission is warmed up, you can go into the mode and you can scroll up and down and get additional information about your transmission. Refer to your owner's manual for those additional functions, and you'll be able to view more details about your selection on your economy and transmission. We have our mirror control. Our mirror control for the left, just push the lever to the left, and then we can control the mirror with these arrows up, down, left or right adjust. In the center is no adjust for either mirror, and then to the right is for the passenger mirror adjust. Once we've made our adjustments to where we can have good vision towards our side of the coach and going back, we put that into the center so that in case we accidentally or inadvertently touch these, the mirror won't move. The red switch just forward of that is for the defrost for the mirrors. If we have any moisture or frost on the mirror, we turn this forward and that turns on the heat behind the mirror, and that will melt the frost or the fog. If it's not frosted or fogged, we can just leave that off. Beside that is our automatic traction control override switch. And if you look up here on the glass dash, when I turn that on, we'll be able to see our traction control flashing now. It's turned on. If we press it again, then it goes to off. Beside that switch is our driver's side sliding window. In front of that is our tag dump. In the center is our engine brake. If we want the engine assisting braking, we can turn this on or off. And then if we have it in the on position, we can go to a low setting for the engine brake, a medium setting, or high. If we leave it on high, that's going to give us the most engine brake that we can get. In front of those, we have our cup holders. And then moving forward, on this cluster, you have on the far left the bright and dim. This changes the backlighting on the switches. So if you want to dim that backlighting down, you can do that, or it can go back brighter. This is just a blank switch. The house battery boost or chassis boost can be pushed when one bank of batteries or the other is low and needs a boost. To do that, we can boost the chassis batteries by pressing down towards chassis. If we needed to, for instance, start the engine and the chassis batteries were low and we couldn't start, we would hold this down for 60 seconds. And then we would press the start, and that would boost the chassis batteries to start the engine. We can do the same thing with the house batteries and boost those batteries by doing the same, pressing 60 seconds. And that will help enable the charger on the inverter. The switch on the end is just the dome light for the light overhead of the driver. This switch is our automatic lights to be turned on or off. If you don't want them to come on automatically, then you would use the center switch here, and you would be able to turn on the marker lights and the headlights with this switch. Once the headlights are on, you can have the fog lights come on in place of the bright lights if you leave the fog lights turned on. The fog lights will automatically go off and on with the bright and dim headlights. We can use the manual switch on the left of the column to turn on the headlights to bright or dim. When we go to dim, you can see that our fog light came on in place. You see the fog light go out if we don't have the switch turned on. To the right of that is our parking brake set. Pull to apply the parking brake. The parking brake is always applied or pulled towards you when we're parked or where our coach is in neutral. If we want to release the parking brake, we would first put our foot on the brake pedal and then push forward, and that would release the parking brake, and then we would be able to put the coach into gear. Whenever we park the coach, we want to have the parking brake pulled towards us, and then we want to have the coach in neutral. Just below that, we have our phone charger. Just put your phone here and it will automatically charge. To the right of that is our adjustable vent. And in the center of the steering is our glass dash. This glass dash displays all of our gauges, our instrument clusters, and we'll start at the top left and go over what they are. Our first one is our temperature, then our fuel, temperature outside, then fuel, then the engine temperature, then the oil pressure, then our mobile eye for lane changing. We have our air pressure here for our tank air pressure, our DEF, and then our time. Our tachometer gauge here showing the RPMs, and in that cluster is our trip and distance to empty, and in the center is our selection at our home screen. So if I am looking at the right hand cluster on the wheel and I press the home button, that will allow me to make adjustments here with the arrows up and down. So whenever I highlight one and I press the OK, like we have highlighted messages here, and I press the OK, or settings, if I go to settings and press OK, now I get an additional selection that I can scroll up or down and change, for instance, my wiper sense, my comfort drive. If I want to select that, I would press OK again, and then the up or down arrows to make the comfort drive more or less easy to turn. To go back one setting, press the back arrow, and now I can go into other selections in the settings. To go back to make another selection here on the left, just press the home screen and then scroll up or down. For instance, I'm on brightness, I can press OK, and it shows me what it's set at now. I can take the arrows and adjust the brightness to a dimmer setting, or use the arrow up to go to brighter. If I scroll all the way down in the home setting, you can see I have TPMS for our tire pressure monitoring. adaptive cruise settings. If I press the OK, press OK to accept. And if I scroll down past that, it goes back to the top of the menu. Just to the right of that is my miles per hour, which can be changed to kilometers if you like. This screen only comes on when the key is turned on to accessories or the engine is running. On the left-hand side of the column is my turn signal left. If I have my turn signal on left or right, that's going to display my camera, and we'll show that in a minute. Pulling it is bright or dim. The cruise control is on the left button set. If I press in the center, there's a button that will set the cruise if it's turned on. If the cruise needs to be off, we just press to the left. It says off, and the cruise will be off. Moving all the way down to the floor area, there's a lever, a foot lever that can be depressed. If you press down on that, you can move the wheel forward and back, or telescope towards you or away. Once you release the pedal, it locks into place. So pressing releases. Now you can move it where you like. Once you find where it's set for your position that you are going to be driving, or to stow it if you're moving out of the seat, just release and it's locked into place. On the left-hand side of the column, about halfway down, there's a small button that you'll feel, and that's to reset your passcode on the Trimark door handle beside the entrance door, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Moving to the steering wheel, we have 3 clusters here. We talked about the cluster on the right, and we're going to move over here to the cluster on the left, which is your wiper wash, your telephone calls. If we make a setting on our wipers, those settings are going to stay in place until we press the off button. The high-low can be made for intermittent settings. On our right, if we press the intermittent, the wipers will come on, and the intermittent is set once we press it again. This is the wash, and of course this is your high and low. In the center, we have our light flash for headlight flash, light flash for marker light flash, speaker volume up and down, or speaker mute in the center. And then we have sources that we can choose here at our radio for whatever source we want to listen to, whether that's XM radio or FM AM. And then we can scroll back or forth in those settings here. On the right, that cluster again is for our menu, home screen. And just beside it, we have some adjustment here for a pedal adjust, forward, back, or closer to us, and the steering for comfort drive is here. So more or less assistance is the electric for the power steering. So here at the center, we have our radio and camera. To turn the radio settings and radio on, press the knob, and in a few seconds you'll see that the main menu is displayed here and our camera. There's a shortcut on the left side of the screen. So when you press any one of the shortcut buttons on the left side, it will take you directly to the menu on the top, the navigation, dimming, and whatever you set as your favorites. In this case, it was Sirius XM. If we go back to the top, we can see we're at our menu, and these are the selections we can make in the Excite radio. So I can start here at the top left. I can start at the top left here at the radio and make radio settings. The media center is the next one over. Our Sirius XM. Our Bluetooth. In order to make telephone calls with your phone, here through the steering, you'll have to connect your phone here and turn on your Bluetooth. Once you do that, you'll see your phone is connected and you'll be able to make calls or play music there. Our HDMI port and auxiliary port are to the left and below the armrest area. We'll show you those in 1 second. Our camera control is here. And what's new for 27 is the recording feature. So if we wanted to record an event, the cameras can pick that up simply by pressing the record button and then going to the events to watch that. There is a loop in the SD card that will constantly record, or that is recording, the events for several days. If you did a manual recording, you could view it by pressing the list feature and scrolling to the bottom or the last one. You can press events and see the last one here, or if you had a driving event, you can view them here. You can go back to the main screen here. Each of these icons is showing the view that the camera is pointing. This would be the front. And of course, on the left-hand side, rear, right side, and right rear view mirror side, and back to front. Whenever the coach is put into reverse, then the reverse camera will show up. The additional icons over here are both sides in a split view. All sides, front, back, left, and right, or just left, right, and rear. And 360-degree view here. If you're on the rear view selection, you're seeing the rear camera here, you can change it to up close or further away just by pressing these icons at the bottom here beside the rear view camera. Just below that are the HVAC settings for the cockpit area only. When we have the ignition on and we turn to a fan setting, we'll be able to turn on the snowflake button for air conditioning and set our temperature. The top recirculation icon can be pressed and you'll see that illuminate, so the air is being recirculated rather than letting or allowing fresh air in. If we want to allow fresh air in along with the setting we made, we just leave that one turned off. If we want to just bring air in from the outside without the air conditioner on, press that so the blue light goes out. To make adjustments here to blow out in the midsection, floor and midsection, or floor only, we can do that here. Defrost. And to turn it off, we just go to 0. Rocker switches below our HVAC are the visor here at the driver's side, up and down. Our shade at the front windshield, up and down. Docking lights, on, off. Overhead fans and those fan speeds. The fan in the overhead, just above the upper part of the windshield, can be turned on, low, medium, or high. That will help move the air and defrost the windshield. There's another fan here that blows air out near the floor if the ITR Oasis is on. Once the ITR Oasis reaches a warm temperature, you'll be able to turn this on and you'll feel heat blowing out near the floor on a low setting or fan high. It's not turned on right now, so you won't hear that fan. Our generator start is just press and hold. It's priming and preheating now. Once it's preheated and primed, it will start. When we're finished with the generator, we just press the off button. Our entrance door lock, we can lock and unlock here. The air horn or the street horn choice can be made here. Street horn and then air horn if it's aired up. Courtesy lights on and off, and our visor. And this is a blank switch. Below that, we have our storage drawers here. And of course, below that is our heater vent. So as you first enter the coach on your right-hand side, there's a rocker switch here that's labeled ceiling lights and all off. So any lights that are connected to your multiplex system, we can turn off just by pressing down. And if you're just entering and you want the ceiling lights on here in the living room area, just press it up to turn your lights on. At the entrance door on our left-hand side, we see a battery disconnect switch so that you can turn on the lights in your coach. So when you first enter, you'll press this switch on and the red light will come on. That tells you that your batteries are connected, and then you'll be able to turn on your lights and other functions. Just above that is our baggage doors on unlock up or lock down, and our patio light along with our stepwell light on and off. At the very base or bottom floor, there's our fire extinguisher with the quick release in the center. To remove the fire extinguisher and use it, just press the black quick release down, and then we can remove our fire extinguisher. There's a storage compartment here, and above that is our cup holder. The switches behind the cup holder include our map light on and off, our visor up and down right here behind the shade, and our step cover. So our step cover is retracted now and you can't see it. If we want to use this area above the steps and walk in this area, we can just press the step cover switch. It will extend a step and a cover so that we can walk now, or even if we're driving, the passenger can walk in this area without having to deal with the steps. Once you reach your destination or you're done camping and you want to store the step cover away, just reverse the switch. It lowers and automatically stows away. There's another phone charger here. Behind that, another plug charger for your USB and your USB-C charging ports. There's a buddy screen here that mirrors the same screen as the driver has. This allows the passenger to help navigate and view camera settings. It's stowed out of the way now, but to loosen it and bring it around for the passenger, just turn the knob at the bottom. That loosens it. Now you can move it, make your adjustments, and then, of course, turn it on and off here and go to navigation or camera settings here. Once you're done with the buddy screen here, we just stow it back here and then tighten the knob to hold it in place. So there are adjustments for the seat on both sides of the driver and passenger seat, and they're pretty much the same on both seats. We're going to go over what they do. The one here on the back left side is the seat back tilt, forward and back. Then we have our footrest here. Seat adjust forward and back, and the base can be tilted forward or back. On the right-hand side of each seat, there are additional controls. I'll rotate the seat around so you can see what those are. You want to make sure if you're going to rotate the seat into the living room area that the armrest and the adjustment of the seat will clear the right-hand side of the console. Just lift up on the release lever. I'm holding the release lever right now so you can see it. Once you lift this, you can rotate the seat. This is your release. You can see two additional controls here. This is for your heat level 1, level 2, high and low, and then our lumbar support for our back is here. Once we are ready to put the seat back in the drive position, it will automatically lock this switch back where it was. You can just rotate the seat around and you'll hear it lock back into the center position for driving. The armrests are adjustable on both armrests. There's a small gap in the center that has a lever that you can lift and make an adjustment if you like it a little bit higher or lower setting. That locks it into place when you release it. To just store it and get it out of your way, you don't need to unlock it. You can just lift it up and get it out of your way. And the driver's seat is the same, except the footrest will not be able to be used if the coach brake is released. If the parking brake is released, the footrest on the driver's side will not be able to be opened. So right above the driver's seat, we have our panel with additional controls. You'll notice on the left-hand side here, there's a label for solar prep. So the solar prep is located on the back side of this panel. So if we wanted to access that, we'd have to take these screws out and remove this panel to get to the solar prep and connect it. These controls are for the driver's shade, door shade, and passenger front shade. So if we want to raise or lower them, we just press raise or lower on any one. This panel is for your Victron inverter. The Victron inverter is in the basement and it needs to be turned on first in order for this panel to display it and control it. So if you've had your coach in storage and the inverter was off, this panel will not control anything or display what it should show for the charging or inverting. So be sure and turn the one in the basement on first, and then you'll be able to see and go through turning things on and off here. Currently, we're on the device list, and there's 2 tabs that you can touch on the bottom, and now it's showing the inverter. The green light is on the inverter showing that it's turned on, and it's showing the AC loads. You can scroll to the left and view the battery, the system, the status, AC input, and loads on this screen. Just by touching the screen, you can also go to the menu tab. So touch the screen, you can see the menu wakes up. You can go to that menu, and now you can see we are looking at the inverter. There are notifications. There are also the settings tab. So you can go to settings. If you want to see what the inverter is doing, just press that. And now you can go in and see the state that it's in. It's currently inverting. And you can scroll here to see additional voltages, what the state of charge is if you had lithium. And you can turn it on and off here if you'd like. We'll go to the back arrow here, and we'll just go back to the main pages menu here. On the right side, our control at the top are the security lights on and off. Press it again and they'll go out. Our block heater here, that preheats the engine on cold start days. Our exterior step switch will keep the outside step in front of the entrance door extended all the time if we have it turned on. If you don't have this turned on, the step will open and close when you open and close the door. And then our last switch is the exterior LED lights, which is below the lights below the slides. Those LED lights can be turned on and off there. Our control here is the Winegard television over-the-air antenna and the control for the cable. So if I want to view over-the-air channels, I turn this on. If I want to view cable, I leave this off, because if it's turned on, the cable connection at the cord reel, even though I'm plugged in, won't show the cable coming through. So turning this on, I can watch over-the-air channels after it goes through a scanning process. And we're in a building, so we're only showing 7 channels. I can make slight adjustments to that antenna, which is inside a dome. Or if I feel I want to scan again because I've moved my coach to a different area or another location, we can rescan the channels and it will look for additional new channels. Again, if you want to watch cable, just turn this off, and then you'll be able to watch cable after you scan the cable channels on your TV. And again, you'll always have to scan your over-the-air channels on your TV first, even though you turn this on. This control is for the Girard awnings that are outside. So you can either use this control panel or the remote one outside. This panel is for the slide outs. The off door side, which is on the driver's side slide, which is your full wall slide in and out, or extend is out, retract is in. And then the door side slide, which is on the door side or the passenger side, in and out here. Our next control panel is for the the door side awning and the door side living room awning. So extend and retract on both of those. This is off door side. This is the door side. Above the panel of these controls, we have our Starlink power panel and router. So this coach is equipped with just the Starlink router, and that is plugged in right here. So you'll need 120 volt to operate it, meaning short cord plugged in, generator on, or inverter on. There's also another prep here, and this one is labeled the 12-volt wiring conduit, and that's for a satellite connection. If you wanted to add a satellite to the roof, that conduit comes through here, and you could run additional wires up to the roof for your satellite. There is a pet safety gate that you can put across just behind the driver and passenger chair. To unlock and lock the gate, there's a lift and turn mechanism at the top. So right now it's locked. So if I want to unlock the gate, I lift and turn to the left or counterclockwise. Now I can pull the gate, open it up, go across, and there are two small clips that you would clip that gate into. And now the gate is closed, and just reverse that process to bring it back over. Unclip the gate, and the spring tension pulls it closed, and you can just lift and rotate to the right to lock it. So as we move into the living room area, we've got our day stand here with storage. Above that, we have another storage area here. We have our Bose speaker and our audio visual cabinet here. Inside the AV cabinet, you can see there's 120 volt outlets that we could plug in our DVD player or satellite receiver, and then plug them into the HDMI cords, which are both labeled with whichever one they are. This one's the satellite, and then this, of course, would be the DVD. Below that, we have the TV lift. To watch television, of course, we want to use the control panel on either the main or the one on the theater seat and raise that TV up. Once the TV goes up, we'll just use our remote control, turn the TV on, and then be sure and scan for the over-the-air TV channels. Once the scan's complete, then you'd want to make sure that your Winegard over-the-air antenna is turned on and has scanned those channels so you can watch TV. We'll use our remote control to go to the home screen, press the home button in the center. That gets to this screen. And then this icon here is our selection for menu. So just toggle over to the left here and go to settings. So you'd have to scroll down to settings, then press the center button here, and now scroll over to all settings. And what we're going to do is we're going to scan for channels. If we scroll down here to broadcasting, then we select that. Press the center button again, and we go through auto program to find the channels. So press auto program, and we want to press the start to auto program. We have to have our over-the-air Winegard turned on, and once that's on, then we're going to scan for air channels. Yes, and it'll go through the scan and it'll show us how many channels it found. "39 channels." So we can either scan again, or we can go to our different settings or just close. You'll have to scan the same way with the Winegard antenna off if you want to watch the cable channels. So if you want to scan for cable, turn the over-the-air antenna off and then scan again for your cable channels if you have part cable available and want to watch cable. Now we should be able to connect with a channel here. Yes. To go back to the home screen and scan for cable, scroll left, back to settings, to the right, all settings, broadcasting, auto program, and this time we're plugged into cable, we've turned our over-the-air line guard off, and now we can scan for the cable channels. Obviously, since we are not plugged into cable, we won't pick up any, but that's how you would scan for the cable. And you'll have to scan for channels for each TV location, whether it's out here or in the bedroom. And of course, when we're done watching the television, we just want to bring it back down for travel. The sofa will fold out into a bed. You'll need to remove the back cushions on both sides. And there's a release just behind the seat. It's just a strap, and it releases the lock mechanism. So once you do that, you can bring the whole base towards you and set it down. And then you want to bring the back down, and that will make it into a bed. So the reverse of that, to fold the bed up back into a couch, is just lift the back up, grab a hold of the strap with one hand, and then lift the front and fold it back in. And strap back down, and our cushion's back on. So as we move over to the dinette, we have additional storage above the table here. Of course, we have our window with shades. If we raise the shade up, we'll be able to see the window has two cranks that we can open the window for fresh air, and they're both have screens. The table will extend for more seating, and the seats are provided with the coach. We can grab a hold of the table and pull it towards us to add extra leaves. We want to do that by pulling the table out until it stops, and then lowering the third leg. There is a leg here that you can see. If I push down slightly, I can lower the leg, and then that extra weight is supported by the leg. I can add the leaves here. There's one, and the second one. And then I want to lift slightly, close the table, make sure the leg is all the way out, and then lower that down. And then the reverse of that would be just lift the table slightly, pull out, remove each of the leaves. So then we want to close the leg, lift up slightly, push the leg up, you'll hear the magnet catch, and then close the table. There is additional storage under both seats. Here at the dinette, we just grab a hold at the center and pull out. We have an additional drawer on both sides. And they'll latch when you push them closed. So across from the television and sofa, we have our theater seating. The theater seating has controls on both sides, left and right, for extending the footrest And at the same time you do that, the seat back will tilt. And then if you want more of a headrest position, you can adjust the headrest or the back. And then the third button retracts everything. And there is a charging port for USB and USB-C here. The touch panel on my left is for the TV lift or any of the other functions in the coach. It mirrors the 10-inch panel in the hallway, so I can control the HVAC shades and any of the other lighting functions, TV lifts. I can view tanks, adjust fan settings, or view my power settings right here in the living room. I don't need to go to the hall. I can go back to the home screen here. Everything works the same as the large panel. I can also control all the shades here. Above the seating is more storage. And of course, I can lift the shade, and then the window has dual crankouts with screens. We're moving into the kitchen, and you can see here we have cabinet space on the right. The plug that you see is for the microwave. So if you need to unplug the microwave or move it, take it out, that needs to be unplugged first. Just grab a hold on the right-hand side of the door to open and close the microwave. There's more storage here, along with this coach came with the no-spill dog water bowl. There's 2 of those. And with every Newmar coach, you get the information package, all of the information, owner manual, instructions, warranty information, build information is all located in this black case. You can see we label all of the files for you: plumbing, heating, air conditioning, exterior, electrical, and appliances. So you want to go through this, read your manuals, and go ahead and fill out the warranty registrations or do that online. Make sure that gets completed. On the inside of the door, Newmar does include additional information about your coach. That includes your color schemes, paint code numbers, gives you a QR code about the Newmar Country Club and how to get that information and join the country club. Here at the sink, we have removable covers. Those covers are typically stored down here. There's a small area that has a push to store each one. The sink has a telescoping wand. Press, turn on and off, and of course on here, hot and cold. Below the sink is a drawer that pulls out for the trash receptacle. And just below the microwave is our induction cooktop. And the covers for that cooktop on the back side have cutting boards. So if we want to use those as a cutting board, we just flip those over, and we've got cutting boards that we can use on both sides. Got cutting boards here. And of course, the true induction cooktop requires a magnetic pan. Aluminum won't work. So if we wanted to take the cooktop outside, we just grab a hold of it and lift it out. So on both sides, we just grab a hold, lift out, unplug, take it to where we need to go. And we bring it back, plug it back in, put it back in place. When you turn this on, if you don't have a pan on the cooktop, the LEDs will just go out after a few seconds. And of course, you can make those adjustments with the pan on there. When we're finished, we just put the covers back on, make sure that it's cooled down before we put the covers back in place. Below that, we have our main kitchen drawer. with compartments. When you get your coach new, you're going to get all of your electronic type operating equipment, touch-up paint, TV remote controls, Bose speaker controls, awning controls, along with filter wrench for the whole house filter outside in the water bay compartment. So all of that, along with the extra set of keys, is in this drawer. There is a small steel mechanism that's used to drop the ceiling panels lower on one side so that you can get to your filters for your rooftop air conditioner heat pumps. I'll show you how to do that. So we insert this end into the louver about 4 over, and then there's a magnet that holds this in. So we just want to pull down, and that releases the magnets, all 4. And inside you'll see the louver and the filter. So this is the return air filter louver. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. These filters will need to be cleaned weekly if you're living in the coach. Take the filter out. You can use a vacuum and then wash it with warm soapy water, rinse and let air dry, and then put it back on the louver, and then just push in the center. Make sure you line it up, and then push it up to clip it in. Push it up, make sure it's centered, then clip it in. The ones on this driver's side, those are the discharge air for the cool air for air conditioning, and the duct run is also the same one for the heat pump air, so that you get heat or cooling, whatever you have the HVAC set on. When you're finished, you want to do the one in the front and or the one in the back. So you do all 3 areas by pulling these louvers down and accessing those filters to clean. So when you're finished, line the back side up. You get that, then push up, and your magnets will hold it in place. Below the main drawer, we have our dishwasher. The dishwasher door is open right now, but if you're ready to travel and you want it locked, you want to press the small circle right beside the lock and hold it down until you hear a tone. That way, when you close the door, it will automatically lock for travel. To unlock the door after you come to your destination is just tapping the door like that, and you'll hear the lock unlock, and then you'll be able to open the door. There's additional drawers on the right hand side here. This one has a sliding tray on top of the drawer. As we move to the back of the kitchen, we have our 3-door stainless refrigerator, and it's currently in the travel mode. And what I mean by that, it has an additional lock here that Newmar adds to the refrigerator, which when it's to the left position or pushed to the left, the doors will not open. They're locked, all 3. Once I move this handle to the right, I've unlocked the doors and I'm out of travel position. And now I can open the refrigerator on any of the 3 doors. So here at the top or refrigerator section, you'll see your refrigerator comes with a water filter, brand new. And to insert that and lock it in place, you just follow the directions here show when it's locked. You insert it like this, and then rotate to the right, and that locks it in place. You will eventually need to replace that, and the reverse of that is just unlock it, pull it out, and replace. To operate the temperature up and down for the refrigerator and freezer section is here. This current temperature readout is showing our temperature We just turned it on, so those temperatures are in the 70s. But the adjustments can be made here for up and down on either the freezer or refrigerator. And you can scan the QR code here on the left side if you want to see the temperature in real time and control the refrigerator on your smart device. The left door should be closed first so that this interlock is closed, and then the right hand side. The freezer is down below, the sliding tray and ice bin. And if we're ready to travel, we want to make sure, remember to lock or move this lock mechanism to the left. Now our doors are locked. This is, of course, the water dispenser. Just press to, that will dispense water. On the right side are pantry drawers. These are locked. If we want to open any one of those drawers, they open the same. You have to push to release. And then to lock them back in place, you have to push all the way in until you hear that click. And now the drawer is locked back. They are adjustable if you need one to be higher or lower. You can see the adjustment positions that you could move it to on any one of those. At the floor, we have our intervac open and closed. We can flip that up and we can sweep into that. It will go into the vacuum, or we can add our hose here and use the vacuum upstairs and all the attachments. There is just a small yellow warning label here, which is reminding you to make sure that the vacuum has a bag installed in it before you use it. With your coach, you have your intervac accessory bag, and inside the bag are all the accessories, so you can attach that at this location here. And inside you'll find your hose end and your handle where you attach your accessories. So to get started, you just plug it in. And then all you need to do to turn it on and off is just press this button here. If you need help or instructions on how to change the battery in here or how to operate the device, just scan the QR code and you'll get more information online how to use the complete system. If you're going to use the intervac manually, you can sweep any material here and then just lift this up and you can sweep it in here. When you're done, you just pull the hose out and store it away, but be careful that when you store the hose back in the bag that you don't leave something that might press up against here that would turn it on. So we're at the hallway right beside the bathroom, and we can see we have a large 10-inch screen with icons. This is the way you control the functions in your coach, just with this touch panel. This touch panel is showing the icons that you can view. We'll start on the left-hand side. The home icon is going to show you a quick view of what's going on with the coach, with our house batteries, our chassis batteries, and our tanks, fresh gray and black if we have anything in them. It's also where we can turn our lights on and off in the living room or any one of those rooms, or we can go master all on and off here. TV lift. We can turn our water pump on, the top off function for our freshwater tank, or just press autofill to fill the tank automatically. You have the time and temperature along with the dimmer switch here. If you wanted to dim the screen down a little bit, press it again, that goes back to the main screen. The temperature display is for the outside temperature, not inside. The icon beside, moving to the right of the home screen, is the power. That icon is your energy management system. We can turn the system on and off here with the on-off icon. When it's red or maroon, it's on. If it's gray, that means it's turned off. So we want to have that on, and then we can see over here what our amperage usages are. If we're plugged into a short cord adapter plug, like a smaller cord, we want to make sure and adjust the amperage selection to the smaller setting. So if we are plugged into type of cheater cord, we want to press that and go to, like, say 15 or 20 amps if we're in a much smaller cord. What we're plugged into and the voltage we have is displayed there at the top. The AGS function is for the automatic generator to turn on. We'll have to enable that function here. When we enable that, now we can do our setup. In this case, it started the generator. If we want to stop the generator, we can just press the stop button. That stops the generator. We can select a quiet time, and we can go back and forth between those two screens, and we can see what our voltages are. Our next icon is floor heat. We can turn any section of the front, mid, or back of the coach on for the floor heat, high setting, medium, or low. If we press that again, that goes gray, and then it's turned off. Same with the fans. We've got 3 fans, bathroom, storeroom, and kitchen. We can turn those on just by pressing the same on-off. In this case, we turn the one on in the kitchen. If any one of those aren't coming on because of slight moisture and you want to hit the rain override, just press the rain override, and then it will come on manually. Of course, if you have that on and it is raining, you want to turn that off so the vent can close if it's raining outside. Pressing it again, it turns off. The next icon over is your shades. We have full control in any one of the rooms of the shades, forward or day or night. The forward shade closest to you is the day, and the one on the back is the night. These are all the living room, kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom lighting. Our next icon is HVAC for heating and cooling, and it gives you the inside temperature. And the one on the right is what you are going to set, what I want the temperature to be. Once you set the temperature where you want, then you can turn on the mode. So I can choose heat pump or furnace or air conditioning. So in this case, that's cool. Heat pump is for heating. That's the rooftop air conditioners. When you turn that on, of course, you've got an icon that will come on. It gives you a little hourglass. It takes couple minutes and that will come on. If you press it again, we can just go to auto. So it selects the function for you. It might go to furnace or heat pump, depending on whether you're plugged in or not. If you press it again, then we can see we have furnace. So you can actually select the mode you want, or if you leave it in auto, it will make that selection for you. Press it again and we're back to off. So that turns everything off. If we do select one of the air conditioning functions, which would be cool or heat pump, we have the fan in auto mode. If you want continuous circulation in the coach of air movement through the ductwork that's in the ceiling, front to back, you turn that on a setting of either high or low fan here, or if you leave it in auto, just comes on with the compressor when it cools or whether it's in heat pump mode. So we'll go back here to off. Our next icon over is the Bluetooth pairing, so that if you wanted to see the screen on your phone or your laptop or an iPad,
You follow the 7 steps here, download the app on your phone, and you'll be able to see the same screen and have the same controls that you see here on the main screen. It pairs with a module that's in the half bath here, and then that Bluetooths to your phone. So you'll have to make sure your Bluetooth on your phone or your other device is turned on. Our next icon and the last one is the lighting. Pretty self-explanatory. It shows the living room lighting, bedroom, bathroom, or master for all off or all on. The small plastic cover here just below the 10-inch panel is for the HVAC temperature sensor for this area of the coach. Moving into the half bath, the door swings to the left to open. And as we go in on our right-hand side, you'll see the same touch panel control, the 5-inch panel, with all the same icons that you had outside, either on the 10-inch panel here in the hallway or at the front. And they control all the same functions right here in the bathroom. The medicine cabinet here, doors, and then to my left, you'll have all of your 12-volt fuses with spare fuses here. Each of these fuses is labeled on this inner door panel. So if we have a fuse that we need to look at, we can find it. Let's say, for instance, the porch light is not working. That would be F4. So then we would come over here to our fuses and find F4, which is this one, remove it, and we can do a visual inspection. If this U connection is broken, then we want to grab the same size fuse, put that fuse back, and our porch light should be working again. On the left, again, this is just spare fuses here. These are relay boxes that control other functions in your coach. And this is the pairing device for the Bluetooth that we talked about when we went over the 10-inch monitor panel. And those instructions are on the Bluetooth icon pairing. On the left-hand side here, at the top, we've got our floor heat breakers. If they are tripped, you'll be able to come in here and press them to reset. If the floor heat's not working, these are the first things you want to check and reset them if they need to be. Below that, you've got your 120 volt breakers, and each one is labeled on the left-hand side here for what it is. The main breaker has to be turned on here at the top for the other ones to get power. So after you have the main breaker turned on, then you could look at and see that, hey, yeah, my front air conditioner, my cooktop, and on down the list, my microwave, all of those are to the right or on. If one of these is over to the left slightly, that means that it's tripped. It won't always trip all the way to the left if it's not working. So if my refrigerator wasn't working, I'd have to come in here, find the refrigerator breaker, and flip it back to the right. Even if it was slightly over, I have to go all the way to the left and then back to the right to turn it back on or enable it. When I'm finished, just close the door. Below that cabinet is our crank out window here in the bathroom. It has a screen, and of course the shades are here. These are electric shades, so you can't pull them down. You have to go to the panel to open and close your shades. Below that is your Dometic toilet, and the control panel for flushing the toilet is right here. It should be illuminated blue on the left, and of course the green power button will be on the right. To add water to the bowl, we just press the top button. That adds water. To flush, we just press the bottom button. Now, if the level indicator, which is the one here on the right, if it's amber, That means your black tank is 75% full. Your toilet will still flush. If this is red, that means the tank is full. You will not be able to flush. So once you see amber or yellowish color, that's when you want to start thinking about emptying your tank so that you're not in a situation where you can't flush. Below that, we have more storage. Drawer. And more storage here. And of course, our heat comes out there and return air for the heat out of those louvers. Above us, we have the fantastic vent. This comes on and off by operating the fan touch panel here in the bathroom or any of the other locations where you have a touch panel. In the event that you might want to just open it manually or had to open it manually, the crank is here on the left. We can open the lid manually just by turning that counterclockwise. And then we have that open. If we wanted to check and see why it's not maybe working, we could check the fuse. It's a glass fuse. Just reach up here, turn it clockwise, pull the fuse out, visually inspect it. If the line's broke, just get a new one, get a new fuse, put it in, and reinsert. Of course, when we do that, it resets the fan and it comes on. As soon as we close it manually, it will shut off. Go all the way clockwise, the lid closes, and the fan turns off. So as we enter the bedroom, we have another door here. This is a pocket door, and it's in the travel position now, so it's open and locked. If we wanted to close the door, we have to push down to unlock, and then we can move the door over to the right, and you'll hear it lock again in the closed position. So for travel, though, we want to unlock it and move it to the left and leave it in the open position, and you can hear it's locked. That's the way you want it for travel. Right here above us, we have our CO2 detector. The CO2 detector should be tested weekly by pressing the tab in the center. You can hear the tone. The series of tones tells you that it's working and it has a good battery. If you don't hear that series of tones, you want to check the battery, replace it if necessary. This one is a squeeze to open, so you have to squeeze it, open it, check the battery, remove it, replace it if needed. Once you put the new battery in and close the lid, you want to retest it by pressing that center tab again and make sure you hear the tones that tells you it's working. On the bedside slide, we have the bed and overhead cabinet space here. There's a 120 volt outlet there at the back in case you needed to put some equipment up here, plug it in, like maybe a CPAP machine. You can run those CPAP lines right through here down to the bed area. On both sides of the bed, you have a nightstand. The nightstand has a storage door, and at the top, it has an opening so you can put charger lines through. It has a 120 volt outlet down there with USB and USB-C charging ports. So both sides can have charging and a 120 volt outlet down here. In order to operate this slide in and out, this bed has to be folded up. The switch for that is here. So if I wanted to close the slide out for travel, I need to first store the bed, and then I can come over here to the control for the off door side slide, and then I can run that slide in. But that bed has to be up. Of course, to run it out, we just go in the opposite direction, which is the word out. As we mentioned earlier in the video, this is the same set of louvers with filters that need to be cleaned for the roof air conditioner, whether you're running it on heat pump or cooling. And that needs to be done weekly if you're living in the coach. On this side of the bed, there's an additional nightstand. It has the same 120 volt outlet and USB charging ports with an opening at the top, so you can bring those cords in or plug in things and set them on the top of the nightstand. On both sides is a window. The window is a manual lift with screen, so if you need to open the side windows on the end walls of the slide out, you can do that as well. Just below our control for either the bed slide or the door side slide out here, we have our temperature sensor for the rear of the coach and a touch panel. This touch panel operates like the others, and going to the home screen, the same icons will appear. Here on both sides of the TV, we have lighting control at the top. We have storage and a safe. The keys for the safe are taped on this one. Just follow the instructions in your owner's guide to reset the code for your own security. Of course, the TV has an audio-visual cabinet behind it. So to access that, and let's say you wanted to plug in a DVD player, just lift at the bottom. You can add a satellite receiver, a DVD player, and you can plug all those in on the back wall. We've supplied you here with a couple of 120 volt outlets, in addition to a roof mount satellite receiver connection, HDMI cord to plug those in right here, and more storage below. And then on the base, we have on the left storage. We have our washer, washing machine, and dryer on the right. So we have a washer and dryer here. We did put a small sticker notice on the washing machine, and that just simply says remove the outside drain cap before operating your washing machine. We want you to open the gray tank valve and have your sewer line hooked up so that all of the gray water that's exiting out of the washing machine during the spin cycle is going out of the gray tank and not holding in the tank and filling up. In the center, we have additional storage here. And of course, the dryer here has a lint screen. We have our temperature control on and off and temp settings there. So as we're entering the rear bath, you'll see it also has a control panel. Here, they are the same as the others in the coach, so the controls are all going to match and operate the same. We have, of course, our medicine cabinet, storage here on both sides. If you look at the bottom on both sides, there's a 120 volt outlet here to plug appliances in here in the bathroom. The dual sinks on and off, and then of course hot and cold. More storage below each sink along with the center drawers here. Moving over to the toilet. This is again a Dometic toilet. It operates the same as the one in the half bath. The switches got backlighting. The backlighting should be on blue for filling the bowl at the top and a flushing at the bottom. And of course, you should see the green LED that tells you it's powered up. And if you see the amber, your black tank is 75% full. If you see a red LED there on the right center, that's a black tank that needs to be empty because it's full. This is our exit door in case of an emergency. You can get out of your coach without going through the front door or a window. To operate the emergency exit door, we want to unlock the lock mechanism here. Right now, left would be lock. So turning it to the unlock position would unlock this door. And this handle, it also needs to be unlocked. So that's locked. This is unlocked. We can open the door now to get out. You can exit without moving the shade, but would be handy to move the shade. But in emergency, you can still get out even if the shade were down. The way you get out is you have to remove this panel, and then there is a ladder that comes out and down. This is a self-telescoping ladder. All you need to do is have this door open and release the Velcro, and then just flip the ladder down. So I can now exit the coach simply by stepping out on the ladder. And going down. To retract the ladder at telescoping, I just lift up, push in. And at the bottom, we'll have to lift up a little bit on to make sure that they both go in, and then just put our Velcro back on. And we can put our panel back on. It has magnets that hold it. And then close the door. So once we close the exit door, we want to lock it for security, both the handle and the deadbolt. Now our door is closed and locked. On the shower, we have a door here, open and close. It has magnets that keep the door closed. But if you're going to travel, there's a travel latch here that should be moved to the right so that that door is secure during travel. Inside the shower, we have a flip down seat. Once you flip it up, it locks back in. The shower head can be loosened, and then it can be adjusted to where you like. Turn this, once you've got it adjusted where you want, you can use the hand wand or the overhead. That can be selected here, and then hot and cold here. Now, there's an additional mechanism here that if you would like to save water that's coming out of your fresh tank, you have an aquamizer. The aquamizer is currently turned off. When we turn the aquamizer on, it turns blue. And what that does is it takes the water out of the tank. Instead of coming through here, it goes back to the tank, and it's circulating as it heats up through the ITR Oasis. Once it gets hot, this light turns from blue to red. Once you see red, then you'll move this from the recirculation to the on, and then you'll have hot water coming out. So again, let's show you the aquamizer on the screen here. It's in the lighting section. So if we are at the home page and we press lighting, we'll see the aquamizer icon right here. Right now it's gray. Once we turn that aquamizer on, it turns maroon or red. And we can see now that our blue light is on the aquamizer. So we go to the recirculation, and we'll turn the water on here. That's on, and now the water is going through the aquamizer. It's not coming out here. Once this turns red, then I switch this back to on. Water's coming out of either the hand wand or the overhead. This is red. When I'm done with my shower, just turn this off. When you step out of the shower after you dry off, just turn your aquamizer off here, and you'll notice the light will go out. And then, of course, when I close the shower door, we just make sure you lock that so that you don't forget for travel. So as we enter the rear part of the coach, we see the bunk bed area here. And on the floor, you'll notice a compartment. And this is the engine access compartment. So If you needed to describe how to access the engine, you could do that. Just simply tell them to open this access panel towards you, pull it away, unplug the blue floor heat cord, and then remove the black plugs and 2 screws. Lift the panel out and carefully watch the blue cord because it will come with the lower panel. Then just the opposite of that, putting the panel back, the 2 screws and the 2 black plugs, and then the access panel lining up the tabs with the locks. So then we would push those back in once we get them lined up. On the left-hand side is the air for the heat that comes out, and we can see we have more storage drawers here, along with more closet hanging space here. Drawers on this end of the bed, the bunk beds. On the back side wall, we have charger outlets, 120 volt, and we have a light switch there. The bunk bed can actually fold up. We have the cushion off, so we can show you that, or you could just take the cushion out, put it on the bottom. You will lift the steps out, and you'll notice that they latch on the top and the bottom. So whenever you put that back, you want to make sure it's latched. To fold this up so that you have hanging closet space back here, in other words, if you're not using the top bunk, you can lift this up and then retract the rail and continue to lift this all the way up. So now you would have the hanging closet space here. Of course, the bottom bunk, it also has controls here for the shades and accent lights, along with the overhead lights here, USB, USB-C, and 120 volt outlet. The reason they have a shade control here for the end of the bed is because the window is an emergency exit window. So in the event that you needed to exit out of the rear of the coach in that window, you can do that simply by flipping this handle up to unlock the window, rotating it, and pushing the window out, and of course, grabbing the screen, removing the screen to get out of your way, and then you could exit out of the window just by pushing that all the way through. Of course, we're not doing that. We're just showing you the function. So we'll put the screen back. Okay, so we have our screen locked back in, and we can leave this open. If we just wanted to get some fresh air, we can leave it like this. That just gets us air circulation. But then if we want to close it for travel, we want to definitely bring it in, rotate it right, and make sure that it locks underneath that black tab. So that makes sure it is closed for travel. And then, of course, we can put the shade up and down again as we would like. If we want to put the bunk bed back in place with the cushion, the same goes in reverse, but we have to do a little bit of a lift. When we get down to about this position, we want to fold this out and then bring it down so that it doesn't tap the end of the trim. Then we take our step and put it back on both the top, lining the top and the bottom up. Like that. And that makes it firm on the top and the bottom so it doesn't move. There is closet space on both sides and drawers the same on both sides. So we're standing outside the coach here at the driver's side at the forward compartment. If we open that, we'll see that we have a pull handle, and that's for our hood release at the front of the coach. So if we grab a hold of that and pull,
and we come around to the front, we'll be able to open that up. And if we want to have more room to access the Cummins generator, we can pull this. Now we can go into servicing or adding wiper washer fluid, replacing the filter for the Hydronic ITR Oasis. We have access here to the hot water spigot. The hot water spigot here is supplied hot water from the ITR Oasis. So if we want to have hot water, the ITR Oasis has to be turned on. There is a handle here to open and drain that line for winterizing. Our generator fill ports for our coolant and our oil. Our start-stop switch here, press to start and hold. You can hear it priming and preheating. After it starts, we just press the bottom to turn it off. There's an overhead light here we can turn on and off manually. Beside that is our Cockpit HVAC system for heating and cooling. The amount of refrigerant in this system is noted here, and what part number this is for our controls. Moving over to the passenger side, you can see the HWH system. The HWH system has its own tank and fill port. If we want to check the fluid, we can remove the cap, twist it counterclockwise to open, and with the full slide open and the jacks retracted is when we should check the fluid level and add if needed. Replace the cap when finished. In the event that we might want to operate the pump independent of the operation inside or auto level, we can actually go right here. There's a pump run switch. We can turn the pump on manually right here. So if, let's say, we wanted to operate one jack or several, we could flip the paddle here on that jack and then run the pump switch, and that jack would go down. Above that is our filter line dryer. And when we're finished in this area, we manually close this slide by pushing it to close. You can hear it lock. You'll hear it click. Now it's locked. And the hood is the same way. You can hear it lock. We have our fog lights at the bottom. Headlights bright and dim. Marker lights. Turn signal cameras. Adjustable mirrors here. If we don't have enough adjustment in our mirror, we can loosen these 3 screws. They're Allen head, and we can adjust the mirror tilt or forward and back. Above, at the top of the cap, we have our marker lights, our forward camera, and the mobile eye. At the very base or bottom here of this slide is the radar detection unit. So we don't want to cover this area. If there's snow and ice on it, we want to clean that off so that we can get our adaptive cruise and so keep this area clean. So we're here at the entrance door area, and as we look above the entrance door, you'll see that we have our door awning. The door awning can be opened and closed, and the lighting can be operated in the shades menu, either on the touch panels inside, or if we have the app installed on our phone, we can operate it outside with Bluetooth on that device. And just be careful when you open and close your awnings, there's nothing in the way. So the door awning would be operated with the control either inside or on our phone outside with the app. The two large awnings are operated with the Girard control, either the remote here standing outside or the control that's in the overhead above the driver's area. To operate the Girard outside, we choose a channel. 0 is both of the awnings at the same time, and then press out would be extend. We can stop at any time and turn the lighting on or off. Continue to extend is out, and they will automatically stop when they're fully extended. The amount of extension or retraction can be adjusted at the center of the awnings. Right on the motor, there's a limit switch, and there's a tool in your drawer in the kitchen that you can make that adjustment. There's also a tool that you can use to close the awnings without the control or any power to the coach. That is a steel rod that's inserted at the top of both awnings, but you would have to be on the roof to do that. If the awnings are extended and the high wind comes up and the awnings start to move too much or shake, there's a sensor in the awnings that will tell the motor to close automatically in those high wind conditions. We can demonstrate that by moving the awning. So if we move either awning enough to imitate what it would be taking place during a high wind situation, or shake the awning just enough, the awning will close. Same with the forward awning. If we move that one enough, it will automatically close. We recommend that you close the awning if you know it's going to be stormy, windy, or rain, especially rain, because the rain can make the fabric wet, and the extra weight during a heavy downpour could cause the awning arms to fail. These awnings will only retract or extend if you're plugged into shore power or you have your inverter turned on, because both of these motors are 120 volt operated, so keep that in mind. To turn out the lights, just press the light button and they'll both turn off, or individually if you select that channel. So here at the entrance door, you'll notice there are two locks. The top one is a deadbolt lock, and the bottom one is the door handle lock. There are 3 ways to lock and unlock those locks. We can do it with the keys here manually, the long one that's labeled Trimark for lock and unlock for the deadbolt, and the shorter one that says Trimark for the door handle. If the deadbolt is locked inside, you won't be able to unlock it with the key fob or the handle. So the deadbolt is for safety for people that are inside, and the deadbolt has to be opened either with the key or from the inside. But the door lock can be locked or unlocked from the outside, either using the key fob or the door handle. So if I want to go to the entry lock or unlock, I can do that here. Lock or unlock. If I want to use the handle to lock, I just press the lock button here and it locks the handle and the baggage doors. So to unlock with the key fob, I just press this one. To unlock with the handle, I have to use the Newmar code, which is 123441. And that unlocks the door handle lock. That code, 123441, will unlock this lock. If I want to unlock the baggage doors at the same time, enter the same code. Instead of pressing 1 at the end, I press 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. It unlocks both the door and the baggage compartments. To lock and unlock the door, deadbolt or door handle manually, and you're on the inside of the coach, this is the manual door deadbolt lock, unlock, and this is the door handle lock and unlock. We don't want to leave the deadbolt open or locked when we close the door. We want to make sure that's unlocked. If we want to lock the coach when we're leaving, we can press the red lever down to the lock and then close the door, and the door is locked. Or we can lock it with the key fob or the handle just by pressing here or entry lock. If we want to unlock just the cargo by itself, we can do that here, cargo lock, cargo unlock. Entry unlock. When the door is opening and closing, you'll notice the steps are moving with the door, open and closed. If you'd like to have the steps remain or stay open, press the step switch in the overhead. I'll demonstrate that. I press the exterior door switch in just above the driver overhead. Now when I close the door, the steps will stay open. So if you're using the coach and you're parked in, you're going in and out a lot, that might be the way that you want to do it. You can actually close this door soft so that you don't wake somebody up that's taking a nap. It's just into the first latch. This door can actually be closed into the first latch or the travel latch. So if you close it soft, it's in the first latch, it's closed, but it's not closed for travel because it's not flush here. But that's okay, the door is closed. If you want to use it, that's fine. You can use it in the first latch just for soft close, so you don't wake somebody up. But when you're ready to travel, you want to make sure it's in the travel latch, which is the second latch, and you'll need to close it more firmly like this. Now you can see that the trim is even or flush, and you won't have any wind noise when you travel. The entrance code that you get, which is the 123441, when your coach is new, should be changed when you take ownership. Use a number that you can remember, a 5-digit number, and you can change that. Enter your new number after you press the small button on the left-hand side of the column that we reviewed earlier. Press that button, come outside, enter your new code, 5-digit. After you enter it one time, enter it the second time, and that sets your entrance code to your own numbers. Be sure and note that number somewhere so in case you forget it, you can refer to it later. The screen door can be closed and opened independently of the entrance door. There is a screen here that's retractable. This locks the screen down. There's a small release lever here that you can press. If you're on the inside, just press this down. It also releases it, and then close. So now we have the screen door ready to be used with the entrance door in the open position. To put it back onto the entrance door, it's the same way, just press down. So you'll notice that we are located here behind the entrance step in front of the front wheel. There are 3 lanyards. Those 3 lanyards need to be pulled weekly if you're using the coach weekly, and that will remove the water out of the air system in your coach. So remember to do that each time you travel or weekly when you're using your coach. So before you extend your slide out open, there's a small gap between this fascia trim and this Z trim. And you want to make sure that the gap between this trim and this trim is the same on both ends and the bottom. If it's touching or almost touching, you'd want to move your coach to a more level area before you open or extend your slide room. And always be on air ride when you operate your slide out. Whether you're opening your slide out or closing it, always be on air ride or have your coach aired up before you run that slide out in either direction. So we're starting here on the driver's side, working our way back, and the first door we see is for your diesel fuel, and this is the cap. Just turn to remove it, and you can fill it from this side or the other side. When you're done, just rotate clockwise and close. This, of course, is your docking light, marker light, and our first compartment or baggage door back is our Dometic refrigerator, freezer, and you can access it right here by just pulling it out towards you, and it has doors on both sides. You can set the temperature remotely. If you scan the QR code here, then you can operate it on a smart device, or you can go to the end of the freezer here and you can operate it on a touchpad here. It operates on both 110 or 12 volt, depending on if you're plugged into shore power or not, and it switches automatically between the two. In the next compartment, we have a pull-out tray. And the next one, we have more storage with another pull-out, manual pull-out tray. You'll see our bag of Intervac sweeper accessories here. There is a water line here that goes to the kitchen refrigerator, and it does have a small valve that you can turn to the right to shut off, and then to the left is open or on. And the next compartment back is our Intervac Here we can plug into the accessory hose here if we'd like to clean out in the exterior areas. This is the on-off switch for it, along with the bag. You can replace the bags right here. On the back wall is our camera control system, our 2 awning controls for the front and rear Girard awnings on this side of the coach. 120 volt supply here, and this panel covers the lighting control circuits. This tray is manual pull-out, and you'll notice here there's extra tile in case you need to replace one inside on the floor, and the 2 rods for the HWH emergency slide retraction. In case you have an issue with your slide, you can retract it manually. And our next compartment is the entertainment center. The television here and the Bose speaker bar here, you can pull it out towards you. There's a magnet that holds it against the back wall, and then you can adjust it here. The 120 volt outlet on this side has USB and USB-C charging ports. So here between the slides, we have our side view camera, our exterior lighting, marker light, and our vents for the dryer, our docking lights, our jacks, HWH jacks here. In this compartment is the DEF, and to fill that, we just rotate the cap left and fill the cap back on, rotate it right. In the event that there may be an issue with the chassis not airing up, we can manually supply air to the airbags of the chassis if we needed to right here. And the last compartment on this side is the chassis batteries. When you're putting your coach in storage, you want to move these to the off position. So that would be off, and this one would be 0. That saves the energy in the batteries from being discharged from parasitic draw from the ECM or other things. In this compartment is additional chassis fuses. Rotate this to the left or counterclockwise, and you'll be able to access this legend on the back side, and you'll be able to see that there are a couple extra fuses in here, and each of the fuses is named for its function that you see here. So if you're having an issue, let's say with the neutral safety, your on-guard ignition, then you would locate that number, R6 or R1, whatever the number would be. Then you come in here after you find the location, pull that fuse and change it if needed. When you're finished, to pull the fuse, that's the tool. When you're finished, then you want to just put this back on and rotate it clockwise, and that locks it so it won't fall back, or it won't come out. There is a legend here for the battery connections. If you do replace a battery and you're not sure about which terminal goes on which cable, the legend's right here. The tow plug that's in the back of this coach that connects to your tow vehicle or trailer, those fuses are also in this compartment. So we're at the back of the coach. This, of course, is your engine compartment. Above that, you can see the rear view camera, the third brake light, marker lights above are running lights and brake lights here, reverse light there. To open the engine compartment, we just grab a hold of this L lever here, one hand here while you pull down, and then lift. Over here on the right is our Oasis ITR overflow bottle. We want to make sure that's at the cold level when it's off. Keep this in the cold and warm range. Century fluid is what we use. Same with the engine coolant. We want to make sure that the coolant is in the glass range here. If we don't see it, we want to make sure and add some. The type of charge is labeled here. Always wait until the engine is completely cooled down before you add at either place. You don't want to add when the ITR is running and it's hot, or the engine is running and or it's been turned off and it's hot. Our engine oil fill is here. Dipstick for the checking the engine oil level is here. Transmission fill is here along with the dipstick here. The backup beeper is located here. The engine block heat plug is here. This has to be plugged in, and the panel for the block heater has to be turned on at the panel inside the coach. There is a light here that you can turn on when you're accessing this area. This is the engine air filter. If the air filter is starting to get to the point where it needs to be changed or is clogged, this device will tell you that. When the engine is on, this yellow indicator stays in the green unless this filter is blocked or partially getting blocked, and then this diaphragm will be up in the red area, the red zone. If you see this yellow diaphragm up in the red when the engine's running, you'll need to change this canister. Inside that canister is the air filter. In addition to that, if you, let's say you just recently changed it and it's still showing in the red, check up in the upper left corner to make sure that those louvers are clear. If those are blocked, it can also show that the air filter is blocked, but it's actually the intake for that line. So those need to be clear of any debris when your engine is going to be running. When you're finished in this compartment with service, just grab the top and close. Make sure it's latched. Here for our towing, we have our Bargman plug, and for our Air Force One air brakes connection. So we are now on the driver's side corner on the rear of the coach. This radiator grill is also an area where airflow is important for the cooling of the engine, and the condenser fins here. And we have the DEF fill here, and that goes over to the other side to that tank, the DEF. This small compartment is for your sewer hose storage. Docking light. These sensors you'll see on the front and the rear on both sides are your warning for your rear view mirror. Gives you the amber warning if anything is in this lane. So those are the sensors for that. This is your water bay compartment. So this compartment has a thermostat mounted on the left here. That little thermostat allows the heat source to come on if your ITR Oasis hydronic burner is turned on. As long as your burner is turned on, that thermostat will allow the heat to come on and keep your fresh tank, gray tank, and black tank from freezing in cold weather. It kicks on at about 40 degrees. So this water compartment is where you connect to your fresh water and or remove your gray or black tank water, and you also winterize to replace or add a filter into the filter compartment, Newmar supplies a tool, and if there's water in the filter canister already, you'd want to turn off the water pressure, whether that's the water pump or the city water coming in. Once you turn that off, to make sure there's no water pressure in here, you could open the low point drains and then close them to release the pressure. Once the pressure is released, before you insert the tool to rotate it, you would release the clip, and now you can turn the filter with the tool. So I can, tightening is going that way and loosening is going this way. So then I would loosen it. Once I have it loose, I would unscrew it, replace the filter, or remove the filter if I'm winterizing, put the canister back, and then reinsert the lock pin. So this is the hose that you connect to your freshwater supply. You just want to make sure that when you connect your water supply, that it's not more than 60 psi feeding it. If it is, you'll have to install a regulator in between this hose and your water source. So you'll pull this out and you'll stow that hose under there and connect it to your water supply. Once you've got your water connection and filter installed, you're ready to have water inside the house. It goes into two places. It goes into your water lines and into your tank. Your freshwater tank fill valve is here. So if you wanted to fill your tank with water, you just turn this lever towards manual fill here. Now the water that's coming in here goes through the filter, goes into the tank, and it keeps filling the tank, and it will continue to fill the tank until it's completely full. And there's a line that will go overfill or overflow, will come out the bottom of the coach. If that happens, you see it, just turn this back to autofill, and then you're no longer filling it manually. So you just got to be watching. If you're filling manually, it's going to fill up and overflow a little bit. You'll see it at the bottom of the coach here. Just turn this over to autofill, and it won't overflow any after that. In the autofill position, the water that's coming in here is going to fill the tank, but your autofill has to be enabled at your monitor panel inside the coach. So you'll have to go to your monitor panel inside and go to your tank setting and enable your autofill. It's called autofill, and if you enable it, it will automatically fill the water tank as it goes down or drops in level. Right above that, you've got your paper towel dispenser. We don't have any in right now. Below that, you've got your drain outlet here. There's two different ways you can drain your gray tank or your black tank. You can do it with this one manually, or you can use the macerator, which is called a Sanicon, RV Sanicon. So we're going to cover how to do it with the Sanicon, which macerates the waste that's coming out. You'll need to open this and drop the hose through here. Once we have our hose through, we're going to take this cap off, unscrew it, and then insert it into the sewer drain. So that's in our sewer. And now we're ready to open the hose valve for this small line. So once we connect our small macerating line hose into the sewer, we have to open the valve to allow the fluid to flow through it. So to do that, if you look back, there's a valve right here. You have to reach back and pull this towards you, and that opens it up. Once we have that open, we can then drain our black and gray tanks. Our sewage tank, which is the black tank, is here. Our gray tank is here. So typically we want to empty the sewage tank first, but it helps to get a little fluid in the system through the macerator so it's not running dry. So I would recommend opening the gray, pull it towards you, and then turn the macerator on. Then close the gray and go ahead and open the black tank here. Pull it towards you, turn the macerator on, and empty the black tank completely. Turn it off, close the black tank, and then we have a rinse. If we'd like to rinse the black tank, we can do that by connecting a water supply source here, opening the black tank up, turning this on, the water to the sewage rinse. That'll flush the black tank, turn our SaniCon on, let that rinse our tank out, turn that off, turn our water supply off, and then close this, and then close our black tank valve. Open the gray tank, turn the SaniCon back on, completely empty the gray tank, turn it off. When we're ready to disconnect our macerator, we want to close the macerator valve, which was the one we opened first. Just push it to close the gate valve, and then we can remove this hose, lift it out of the way. And store it here. We're going to show you really quick how to do it manually now. If you're not using the SaniCon, you can just connect a hose here, go through the floor, connect it to the sewer outlet, and if we open this one, it automatically will feed either tank, the gray or the black. Typically, we open the sewage first, open this, drains out, then we would open the gray to rinse that out, and all the gray would empty. When we're finished, make sure they're both closed, and close this one as well. This one has to be opened first, and then either one or both of these. Then when we're finished, we put our cap back on, and that's how we do it manually. So over on our left side, we have our low point drains and instructions on how to winterize. There are 3 low point drains. If you notice in the back here, low point drain here. If you reach back, you'll feel a lever for the fresh tank. We open that one, open our 2 low point drains here for our hot and cold water lines. Let all the water drain out of the coach before we winterize. After the water's drained out of the fresh tank and both of our hot and cold lines, then we close these back where they are now. Open is up, close is horizontal. And then we just follow these instructions on how to winterize by opening these valves and inserting this hose into a potable antifreeze container, and then turning our water pump on. Here, we'll draw the antifreeze solution through the line into the water pump and then into the house, where you have to open up your water lines and appliances so that they all get filled or flushed with the antifreeze solution. In the event that the pump is not pulling either water out of your fresh tank or winterizing solution out of your potable antifreeze, there is a screen that you can check here at the base. You can turn this, open this up, and there's a screen in there that you can remove, clean it, put it back, and then tighten this back in place. If there's debris that was causing a slow movement of fluid, then that'll be cleaned out. Just above that, we have our shower, so you can use this, turn it to hot or cold, and rinse off your hands or other items you have out here. When you're done rinsing, you can just store this back in place. When you're ready to disconnect your water line here, we just unplug, or we disconnect it from our freshwater fill, and there is a power button here. We press this and the reel will retract all the hose for storage. Make sure our cap is back on here, and then we can store this hose again. It was. In front of the water bay compartment, you have your cord reel compartment. So the cord reel is a manual pull-out reel, and then you will put the cord in this rubber holder before you close this. To retract it, it is a power retract here. So once you're ready to travel, then you would press to store it. When we're plugged into shore power, that power is displayed on the RV power monitor panel right here. If you're plugged into shore power, but the generator power is coming into the transfer switch, it will automatically use the generator power instead of the shore power. So keep that in mind. If you're operating your generator, you're actually using the power from your generator, and the generator power is being displayed here, not the shore cord power. This screen shows faults. You can scroll up or down and see the line voltages here. The transfer switch is automatic, so if you lose power here at the cord reel that goes in, and you have your automatic generator turned on, your automatic generator starter enabled on the panel inside, the generator will come on and supply power through this box that goes into your breakers in your house. So we recommend leaving the inverter turned on and the AGS enabled in case you lose shore power. Behind the cord reel is a cover. It's an ABS cover that's Velcroed in place that can be removed, and on the back side of the cover we've labeled all the fuses that you can see there. So if you have something in the coach, like say your entrance step that's not working, you could go to that location, which is F5, and check that 5-amp fuse. If it needs to be replaced, take the fuse out, replace it, and then you would check that function on the entrance step. All of the fuses are labeled here, so if you have a failure or intermittent operation of something, come back here, look that function up: cockpit lights, entrance step, dash, hydronic heat. All of those can be checked by looking up the number. If it's labeled B, those are mini breakers. Those mini breakers are resettable. They're right down here at the bottom. If any one of those are tripped, the center tab or button will be pushed out towards you. To reset it, just push that tab back in to reset, because those are resettable fuses. You won't need to replace those. Here in the center is the battery disconnect solenoid, and this is the charge bridge solenoid. When you're finished servicing or accessing this area, just slide the cover back in and match the Velcro up Velcro up on either side will hold it in place. We mentioned inside, if you wanted to watch the television and cable channels, that you would have to connect the park cable here. Or if you have a receiver for another type of cable, it needs to be plugged in here, and that routes to the inside television. But you'll have to have your over-the-air WineGuard receiver turned off in order for you to receive these cable channels. And you still need to scan those channels in your TV to receive them. And the next compartment forward is your ITR Oasis Hydronic furnace that heats your water and heats the air in your coach. It has to be turned on outside first, and then you would operate it from the inside panel. If this is turned off and there's no green light there, the inside panel will not make this furnace function for hot water and heat come on. So this needs to be pressed, this green power light needs to be on, and then you can have hot water and heat. When the burner is working, you'll notice there's a flame that you can see. If you look through this window, you'll be able to see the orange-yellow flame that's in the back there. This system can heat your hot water with the AC heat elements. So you can turn on the heating elements on your touch panel in addition to the burner turning on. So you can use either one. We recommend that you use the burner if you're in cold weather because you'd want to have enough heat supply to keep the water bay compartment warm. The igniter, flame out, and voltage and low water lights that are in the bottom area, these four, if there's a failure, will turn red. So if you see a red LED light here, those would need to be checked or serviced. If any of these green lights are flashing green, those would need to be serviced. They need to be solid green. So again, if you see a flashing green light on any of these, those will need service. If you're operating your ITR Oasis and you have a failure of any one of the heating circuits, there's an additional panel located right here that's a silver box. So if the heating zones aren't working for your hot water, like taking a shower, or the heat in the front or rear of the coach aren't working, these lights may not be green, they might be red. If you see a red light here, you'll need to go into the inside of the box, and there's fuses on the left side and the right side of the box. So if you see a red light, go in, take the fuse out, check it. If it needs to be replaced, put the new fuse in that matches the same size. The light will turn green and that function will be working again. When you're finished, just clip the cover back on. The tabs here are self-locking. There is a reset switch here. In the event that the system isn't working, you can press the reset. If you press the reset and it's still not functioning, you'll have to get it serviced. We recommend changing or having it serviced once every 12 months for replacing the filter and checking the system. So yearly service is important. If you have a complete failure of the control panels inside, but this is on and it's not working, Newmar provides an additional monitor panel that's completely separate from the panels inside that you can plug into the cord here at the bottom, and you can operate this from the outside. So in case that ever happened, you have a backup control panel here. In our next compartment, we have another tray pull-out manual. And if you notice on the upper area here, near the frame rail, is a shutoff valve. This is the shutoff for the hot water supply at the front of the coach. So if you want to turn off that water at the front, that would be where you turn it off, and this is on. In the same compartment between the frame rails is the Victron inverter, and this is where you will find the switch, which is a black switch that needs to be turned on before the interior panel will be able to be used. So this needs to be turned on, and then the light will illuminate showing that's on, and then you'll be able to use your touch panel in the overhead at the front of the coach. Here in the center of the coach, on the driver's side, you have your security light there at the top and the side view camera for the 360-degree view here, right beside the bathroom window and the marker light. In our next compartment forward, we have additional water lines here, hot and cold. We have a pull-out tray here that goes all the way to the other side. And in our next compartment forward is our batteries. These are house batteries. It's a house battery compartment. These are AGM batteries. They're maintenance-free batteries. To service them, they have a locking pin on both sides that you need to remove. You can lift those up. Once you do that, just lift the front handle. You can pull the tray out towards you. Check the batteries, maintain them. There is a legend, just like the one on the back for the chassis. There's one here for the house batteries, and that legend is here in case you need to remove or replace batteries. The schematic for the wiring, putting them all back the way they're supposed to go, is there. And you want to put your locking pins back on both sides when you're done with service. Of course, we have our docking light here, marker light, and fuel fill for your diesel. Goes to the same tank as the other one on the other side. And in this compartment, we have the fuse panel for the cockpit right here in this area, and we have additional fuses and relays for the chassis. The legend for the chassis is on the back side of this panel, which can be removed by unscrewing these. And the legend for what these fuses are for in the cockpit are right beside each fuse is the word for what the fuse is used for. If one of these cockpit fuses blows or quits working, the red light, LED light right below it will come on red so that you are aware it needs to be replaced. If that happens, all of the fuses are right here that you can use these spare fuses to replace those.